Lesson 102. So would I. Neither can he. Nor should they. When do we put the words so, neither, or nor at the beginning of a sentence?
We put the words so, neither or nor at the beginning of a sentence when someone makes a statement and we want to reply that the same situation is true for us or somebody else.
If someone tells you that they would like some coffee and you would also like some coffee, what can you reply?
If someone tells me that they would like some coffee and I would also like some coffee, I can reply, so would I.
If someone tells you that they couldn't sleep last night and you couldn't sleep either, what can you reply?
If someone tells me that they couldn't sleep last night and I couldn't sleep either, I can reply, neither could I or nor could I.
How do we make this kind of short reply?
We make this kind of short reply by using the words so, neither, or nor, and by putting the auxiliary verb before the subject.
If there is no auxiliary verb, which verb do we use?
If there is no auxiliary verb, we use do in the short reply.
Reply to the following statements as if the same situation is true for you. I can speak English.
So can I.
I won't go there.
Neither will I.
I am a student.
So am I.
I haven't got a car.
Neither have I.
My mother lives a long way from here.
So does mine.
My best friend doesn't smoke.
Nor does mine.
What do I mean if I say, I can speak French and so can my mother?
If you say, I can speak French and so can my mother, you mean that you can speak French and your mother can speak French too.
Bit. Although sweets aren't good for the health, is it okay to have a bit of chocolate sometimes?
Yes, although sweets aren't good for the health, it's okay to have a bit of chocolate sometimes.
If you were an employer and one of your employees phoned you to say that they were feeling a bit ill, would you think that that was a good enough reason for them not to come to work?
No, if I were an employer and one of my employees phoned me to say that they were feeling a bit ill, I wouldn't think that that was a good enough reason for them not to come to work.
Snag. What is a snag?
A snag is a small problem.
Give me an example, please.
I need to send him an email, but there's just one snag. My Wi-Fi isn't working.
Defeat. Election. Politics. Is your country usually defeated at football?
Yes, my country is usually defeated at football.
Do you know which political party suffered defeat in the last elections in your country?
Yes, I know which political party suffered a defeat in the last elections in my country.
Phrase. Collection. What is a phrase?
A phrase is a collection of words that belong together in a sentence, because together they form a particular part of the sentence.
Give me an example, please.
At high speed.
Mind. Object. Passenger. Excuse me. Non-smoker. Babysitter. Childminder. Do you mind? What does the verb to mind mean?
The verb to mind means to object to consider, to be careful of, and to look after.
What can we say to the other passengers before opening the window of a train or a bus?
Before opening the window of a train or a bus, we can say to the other passengers, "Excuse me, would you mind if I opened the window?"
Do you mind if people smoke near you when you're eating in a restaurant?
Yes, I mind if people smoke near me when I'm eating in a restaurant.
And if you do mind, what can you say?
If I do mind, I can say, "Excuse me, but would you mind not smoking, please?"
What does someone mean if they say, "Don't mind me, carry on with what you're doing"?
If someone says, "Don't mind me, carry on with what you're doing," they mean, "Don't consider me," or "Don't think about me."
If you didn't mind what you said in public, what might happen?
If I didn't mind what I said in public, I might get into trouble.
If a sign above a door says, "Mind your head," what does it mean?
If a sign above a door says, "Mind your head," it means that the door is low and you must be careful not to hit your head on it.
Do you mind what other people say or think about you? That is it important to you?
Yes, I mind what other people say and think about me. That is, it is important to me.
Why?
Because I want them to have a good opinion of me.
When parents have to go out together in the evening, who usually minds their baby?
When parents have to go out together in the evening, a babysitter usually minds their baby.
What's a childminder?
A childminder is someone who looks after a very young child while the parents are at work.
Idiom 3. Be into something equals have a strong interest in something. What does the idiom be into something mean?
The idiom be into something means to have a strong interest in something.
Give me an example, please.
Most teenagers these days are into
Lesson
computer
103.
games.
Switch on. Switch off. What am I doing?
You're switching the light on.
What am I doing?
You're switching the light off.
Preparatory it. Prepare. It is plus adjective plus infinitive with to. What do we mean by a preparatory it?
By a preparatory it, we mean that we use the word it at the beginning of a sentence to prepare us for some information that comes later in the sentence.
Give me 3 examples, please.
It is very difficult to understand what he says. Was it usual for him to come here every Sunday? It isn't common to find that kind of bird in this part of the country.
Is it easy to learn to speak English as well as an English person?
No, it isn't easy to learn to speak English as well as an English person.
Is it common in your country for people to eat a cooked breakfast in the morning?
Yes, it's common in my country for people to eat a cooked breakfast in the morning.
Determine. Determined. Determination. Extremely. Success. Luck. Intelligence. Have you determined what you're going to do for your next holidays?
Yes, I've determined what I'm going to do for my next holidays.
What have you determined to do?
I'm going to go to Spain.
When you start to do something like learning a language, are you usually determined to continue to the end, even though what you have started is extremely difficult?
Yes, when I start to do something like learning a language, I'm usually determined to continue to the end, even though what I've started is extremely difficult.
Who's the most determined person you know or have ever met?
The most determined person I know is my mother.
For success in life generally, which do you think is more important than anything else? The determination to succeed, luck, hard work, or intelligence?
For success in life generally, I think luck is more important than anything else.
Steal. Stole. Stolen. Owner. What are the 3 forms of steal?
The 3 forms of steal are steal, stole, stolen.
If someone steals your umbrella, does that mean you have the right to steal someone else's?
No, if someone steals my umbrella, it doesn't mean that I have the right to steal someone else's.
If someone stole a book from a shop and was caught doing so, what would probably happen?
If someone stole a book from a shop and was caught doing so, the owner of the shop would probably call the police.
Have you ever had anything stolen from you in this town?
Yes, I've had something stolen from me in this town.
Active. Activity. Would you say you were a rather active kind of person?
No, I wouldn't say I was a rather active kind of person.
What kind of activities interest you most of all?
The kind of activities that interest me most of all are going out with friends, reading, etc.
Organise. Supposing a group of foreign students came to stay with you for the weekend, what would you organise for them?
Supposing a group of foreign students came to stay with me for the weekend, I'd organise a visit to a museum and a meal in a restaurant for them.
Are you good at organising things?
Yes, I'm good at organising things.
Gift. Even if. What kind of gift would you give a boy of 15?
The kind of gift I'd give a boy of 15 would be a football, a bicycle, etc.
Do you think you should always accept a gift from a friend, even if you don't like what they have chosen?
Yes, I think you should always accept a gift from a friend, even if you don't like what they have chosen.
What do we mean if we say that someone has a gift for languages?
If we say someone has a gift for languages, we mean that they are naturally good at learning languages.
Engine. Do you know how a car engine works?
No, I don't know how a car engine works.
Barrel. Beer. What do we use for keeping large quantities of wine or beer in?
We use a barrel for keeping large quantities of wine or beer in.
Steam. How's steam produced?
Steam is produced by boiling water.
Oppose. When you wanted to do something as a child and your parents opposed your plans, what did you do?
When I wanted to do something as a child and my parents opposed my plans, I got angry.
Seat. Stool. What's a seat?
A seat is anything that we sit on.
Do men in this country stand up and offer their seats to women on buses?
No, men in this country don't stand up and offer their seats to women on buses.
Do you think they ought to?
Yes, I think they ought to.
Why?
Because it would be polite.
What's the difference between a chair and a stool?
The difference between a chair and a stool is that a stool does not have a back.
About how many passengers does the average bus seat?
The average bus seats about 80 passengers.
Where's the seat of government in this country?
The seat of government in this country is in Westminster.
Idiom 4. Get on somebody's nerves equals irritate somebody. What does the idiom get on somebody's nerves mean?
The idiom get on somebody's nerves means irritate somebody.
Give me an example, please.
Mary's very nice, but her sister gets on my nerves. She is always making things
Lesson
difficult.
104. I think so. I hope not. Pass an exam. Why do we use the words so and not when replying to something someone has just said?
We use the word so and not when replying to something that someone has just said to avoid repeating the whole sentence.
Give me some examples of this use of the word so, please.
Is that right, what James said? I'm afraid so. I hope so. I suppose so. I think so.
Give me some examples of the use of the word not, please.
Is that right, what James said? I'm afraid not. I hope not. I suppose not.
When do we use the word so at the beginning of a sentence?
We use the word so at the beginning of a sentence when we already know something that someone has just told us.
Give me an example, please.
Someone says to us, Mr. Jones has gone to Australia, and, knowing this fact, we reply, so we've been told.
Shoot, shot, shot. What am I doing?
You're shooting at the window.
What are the three forms of shoot?
The three forms of shoot are shoot, shot, shot.
Have you ever seen anyone shot in real life?
No, I've never seen anyone shot in real life.
Senses. Sight. Hearing. Taste. Touch. Smell. Do without or go without. What are the five senses?
The five senses are sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell.
If you had to do without one of these five senses, which would you choose?
If I had to do without one of these five senses, I'd choose the sense of smell.
Why?
Because the other senses are more important.
Tell me some of the sights one might see if one went to Rome or London, Paris, etc.
Some of the sights one might see if one went to Rome are the Colosseum, the Vatican, etc.
Bright. Dull. First thing. Is it brighter in this room than outside?
No, it isn't brighter in this room than outside. It's darker.
Do you prefer bright colours or dark colours?
I prefer bright colours to dark colours.
Are you, or were you, one of the brightest pupils in your class at mathematics?
No, I'm not, or I wasn't, one of the brightest pupils in my class at mathematics.
Do you usually feel brighter in the evening than first thing in the morning?
No, I don't usually feel brighter in the evening than first thing in the morning. I usually feel more tired.
What do we mean by a dull person?
By a dull person, we mean a boring person.
What kind of job do you think is the dullest?
I think factory work is the dullest kind of job.
Why?
Because you do the same things every day.
Was it a dull day yesterday?
No, it wasn't a dull day yesterday. It was a bright, sunny day.
A great deal of. Spend time. Do you spend a great deal of your time doing nothing?
Yes, I spend a great deal of my time doing nothing.
Why?
Because I'm a little lazy.
Personal. Individual. Do you think that the personal freedom of the individual is important, or do you think that the individual ought to be made to do the same things and live in the same way as other people?
I think that the personal freedom of the individual is important.
Fierce. Lion. What do we mean by a fierce animal?
By a fierce animal, we mean a dangerous and wild animal, like a lion or a tiger.
Nonetheless. Nevertheless. Make a sentence using the word nonetheless.
I haven't got very much money, but nonetheless, I will go to the cinema this evening.
What's another word for nonetheless?
Another word for nonetheless is nevertheless.
Had better. Give me an example of had better, please.
I had better go now, or I'll miss my train.
What had we better do if we want to get high marks in an examination?
We had better study hard if we want to get high marks in an examination.
What had you better do in order to avoid catching a cold?
I'd better look after myself by wearing thick, warm clothes, etc., in order to avoid catching a cold.
Fit. Find out. Take back. If you buy clothes and find out later that they don't fit you properly, what do you do?
If I buy clothes and find out later that they don't fit me properly, I take them back and try to change them.
Would your front door key fit this door?
No, my front door key wouldn't fit this door.
Why not?
Because my front door keys are different size.
Have you got any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I've got some brothers and sisters.
Do their clothes fit you?
No, their clothes don't fit me.
Why not?
Because they take a different size from me.
Are you fit to teach English?
Maybe I'm fit to teach beginner-level English.
What do we mean if we say someone's fit for nothing?
If we say someone's fit for nothing, we mean that they are not good enough to do anything.
What's the best way to keep fit?
The best way to keep fit is to do physical exercise 2 or 3 times a week.
Idiom 5. Feel down in the dumps. Feel low. Equals feel unhappy. What does the idiom to feel down mean?
The idiom to feel down means to feel unhappy.
Give me an example, please.
I was feeling very down that morning, but I felt much better when her letter
Lesson
arrived.
105. Identify. Identity. How would you be able to identify yourself in the street if you were stopped by the police?
I'd be able to identify myself in the street if I was stopped by the police by showing them my identity card, passport, etc.
So, that. Do you think it's possible for foreigners to learn English so well that people would think they were English?
Yes, I think it's possible for foreigners to learn English so well that people would think they were English, but it happens very rarely. It often depends on whether their own language is similar to English.
What do you do in the evening when it's so cold that it'd be unpleasant to go out?
In the evening, when it's so cold that it'd be unpleasant to go out, I stay in.
Gather. Clue. Do I gather up my things from the table at the end of the lesson?
Yes, you gather up your things from the table at the end of the lesson.
At what time of the year do farmers gather the fruit in this part of the world?
Farmers gather the fruit in autumn in this part of the world.
When a man has been murdered, how do the police gather information about the murder?
When a man has been murdered, the police gather information about the murder by looking for clues and talking to people who knew the man.
On what occasions do all the members of a family gather together?
All the members of a family gather together on occasions such as weddings, birthday parties, etc.
Weigh. About how much does your book weigh?
My book weighs about 200 grams.
Cake. Literal. What does it mean? You can't have your cake and eat it.
The meaning of "you can't have your cake and eat it" is that sometimes you have to choose between having one thing or another thing, because you cannot have everything you want.
Comfort. Are you the kind of person who puts home comforts before everything else?
No, I'm not the kind of person who puts home comforts before everything else.
Why not?
Because there are more important things in life.
Relax. What do you do when you want to relax?
When I want to relax, I listen to music.
Audience. Concert. If you could be in the audience at any concert, who would you like to see?
If I could be in the audience at any concert, I'd like to see Paul Simon.
Pipe. Liquid. What's the most common way to move liquid or gas from one place to another?
The most common way to move liquid or gas from one place to another is through a pipe.
Can you see any pipes in this room?
Yes, I can see some pipes in this room.
Do you know anyone who smokes a pipe?
Yes, I know someone who smokes a pipe.
Chimney. What's the use of a chimney?
The use of a chimney is to carry the smoke from a fire out of a building and into the air.
Cry. Give me sentences showing the two meanings of the word cry, please.
The film was so sad that the girl cried the whole time. Be careful how you cross the road, the child's mother cried.
Present perfect or past simple? What's the difference between the present perfect and the past simple?
The difference between the present perfect and the past simple is that we use the present perfect when we are thinking about time before and up to now, whereas we use the past simple when we are thinking about a specific past time.
Give me an example of each, please.
I have been here for 20 minutes. I arrived here 20 minutes ago.
Why do we say, I ate eggs for breakfast today, and not, I have eaten eggs for breakfast today?
We say, I ate eggs for breakfast today, and not, I have eaten eggs for breakfast today, because we are thinking about what happened at a specific past time, breakfast time. We are not thinking about now.
Which of these two sentences is correct? John got up quite late today, or John has got up quite late today.
Of those two sentences, John got up quite late today is correct.
Why?
Because we are thinking about what happened at a specific past time, the time when John got up.
Did you have a big breakfast today?
No, I didn't have a big breakfast today.
What time did you come here today?
I came here at 8:45 today.
Idiom 6. Let someone down equals fail someone who is depending on us. What does the idiom let someone down mean?
The idiom let someone down means fail someone who is depending on us.
Give me an example, please.
Everyone was depending on him, but he let them down by not keeping his promise.
Lesson 106.
Elephant.
Adverbs of frequency. Frequency. Give me some examples of adverbs of frequency.
Some examples of adverbs of frequency are never, rarely, occasionally, sometimes, often, usually, and always.
Where do these adverbs normally go?
These adverbs normally go after the first auxiliary verb.
Give me an example, please.
We had never seen that film before it was shown on television.
Put the word usually in this sentence, please. She can answer his questions.
She can usually answer his questions.
Put the word always in this sentence, please. We spend the Christmas holidays with our family.
We always spend the Christmas holidays with our family.
Put the word often in this sentence, please. They don't go swimming.
They don't often go swimming.
Put the word also in this sentence, please. You must study in class and you must practice your English outside the lesson.
You must study in class and you must also practice your English outside the lesson.
Put the word even in this sentence, please. I can't boil an egg.
I can't even boil an egg.
Oil. How can oil be transported from one part of a country to another?
Oil can be transported from one part of a country to another on lorries or through very big pipes.
Is oil used a lot in cooking in your country?
Yes, oil's used a lot in cooking in my country.
Heat. Radiator. Central heating. What is the verb and the noun for the adjective hot?
The verb and the noun for the adjective hot is heat.
Do you prefer the heat of the summer rather than the cold of the winter?
No, I don't prefer the heat of the summer rather than the cold of the winter.
Why not?
Because I feel more alive in the cold.
How is this room heated?
This room is heated by radiators, gas fires, electric fires, etc.
In your country, which is cheaper, central heating or electric fires?
In my country, central heating is cheaper than electric fires.
Lack. Sufficient. Credit. When you lack sufficient money to buy something, do you wait and save the money, or do you buy it on credit?
When I lack sufficient money to buy something, I wait and save the money.
Why?
Because I don't like being in debt.
What do you think your town is lacking in more than anything else?
I think my town is lacking in parks more than anything else.
Is there a serious lack of food in some countries in the world?
Yes, there's a serious lack of food in some countries in the world.
Neighbour. Next door neighbour. Neighbouring. Neighbourhood. Get on well or get along well. Who's your neighbour in this classroom?
My neighbour in this classroom is...
Why do you think it is that some people just don't get on well with their next-door neighbours?
I think the reason that some people just don't get on well with their next-door neighbours is that we can choose our friends, but cannot choose our neighbours.
Do you ever go to a neighbouring town to do some shopping?
Yes, I sometimes go to a neighbouring town to do some shopping.
Why?
Because I like the things they have there.
Which do you think is the most pleasant neighbourhood in this town?
I think Richmond is the most pleasant neighbourhood in this town.
Are there quite a few shops in the neighbourhood of this school?
Yes, there are quite a few shops in the neighbourhood of this school.
Bible. What's the name of the holy book for Christians?
The name of the holy book for Christians is the Bible.
March. Order. Tiring. Why do soldiers march?
Soldiers march because marching helps maintain order, and also because it's faster and less tiring.
Bloody. Which do you think was the bloodiest battle in history?
I think the Battle of the Somme was the bloodiest battle in history.
Wicked. Who do you think is the most wicked person alive today?
I think, is the most wicked person alive today.
Importance. Do you think parents should teach their children about the importance of being honest?
Yes, I think parents should teach their children about the importance of being honest.
Anymore. What do you do with clothes that you don't wear anymore?
I give away clothes that I don't wear anymore.
Faithful. Are dogs very faithful to their owners?
Yes, dogs are very faithful to their owners.
Plain. A taste for. Is it easier to grow food on a plain than on a mountain?
Yes, it's easier to grow food on a plain than on a mountain.
Why?
Because the earth on a plain is usually deeper and richer.
Was food 1,000 years ago generally plainer than it is now?
Yes, food 1,000 years ago was generally plainer than it is now.
Do you have more of a taste for plain clothes or for colourful clothes?
I have more of a taste for colourful clothes.
What kind of work does a plainclothes policeman do?
A plainclothes policeman does detective work, the kind of work a policeman in uniform could not do because he would be too noticeable.
Would you like to be a plainclothes policeman?
Yes, I'd like to be a plainclothes policeman.
Do you think life is easier when people speak plainly to each other? That is, speak openly, directly and honestly to each other?
Yes, I think life is easier when people speak plainly to each other. That is, speak openly, directly and honestly to each other.
Ring, rang, rung. Ring up. Doorbell. Pick up. Ring. What do you do when you arrive at somebody's house to pay a visit?
When I arrive at somebody's house to pay a visit, I ring the doorbell.
What do we do when the telephone rings?
When the telephone rings, we pick it up and answer it.
What are the 3 forms of ring?
The 3 forms of ring are ring, rang, rung.
If someone rang you while you were busy talking to another person, would you answer the call?
No, if someone rang me while I was busy talking to another person, I wouldn't answer the call.
What number do we ring in order to call the police?
We ring 999 in this country in order to call the police.
Have you ever rung someone up without realizing how late it was and accidentally woken them up?
Yes, I've sometimes rung someone up without realizing how late it was and accidentally woken them up.
When people are married, which hand and finger do they wear their wedding rings on?
When people are married, they wear their wedding rings on the ring finger of their left hand.
Idiom 7. Round the bend. Equals mad. What does the idiom round the bend mean?
The idiom round the bend means mad.
Give me an example, please.
All this work is driving me round the bend.